Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Astrologer Eric Rosen here for your Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 Viking Rising Horoscope. Thanks so much for being here. Well, we've got that moon in Virgo for most of the day. So, yeah, there's some analytics to pay attention to. But, it is remembering that Neptune is stopped, about to go direct tomorrow on the 6th. And so there can be a lot of intuition coming in. It might be a lot to try to make sense of on a day like today. I think Saturn's probably our best friend. Staying disciplined, staying honest with ourselves, staying in integrity with a longer term sense of our goals. The story that we're wanting to weave cannot be a falsified one based upon wishful thinking of what we wish that would go different from the past, or a sudden dream to drop in and save us, from the reality of things. It's going to be way more about, weaving the positive story by being the awesome vibration that, embodies a truer sense of spirituality, which is like a humble nature. Moon in Virgo reminds us to be of service. It's like bring the unconscious side of yourself forward to be spiritually humble in whatever it is that you're doing, and to stay grounded and to not, become dishonest, especially with Venus and, Scorpio. This is where we can start to get, a little weird around money or relationships, or even a career project situation. And so we got to pay attention to that, because this is just new energy that we're entering into. We went from Venus with the South Node in Libra and things feeling very real in terms of trying to find a balance and alignment in these areas, to Venus and Scorpio of kind of accepting a deeper truth of what's going on in these areas. And so these things will continue to reveal themselves for the rest of the month. But for now, I think it's pausing to be like, hey, we don't have the full spectrum of the story all fit together. We've got enough puzzle pieces that we're figuring out anyway. It's like, focus on the basics. Don't expand too far. Don't throw more puzzle pieces on the table on the floor and think it's going to be more fun to try to put 2 or 3 puzzles together at a time. It adds up over time. It's stressful. It creates, crazy neurotic thinking. We just got to remain steadfast in like what we know. And I think the knowing is going to come very much just from a rooted place, you could say a heart-centered one that is going to bridge the oddness of the spiritual reality and the mundaneness and hardship of the physical reality. I mean, the heart is that chakra that bridges the two, the upper and the lower chakras. And so I think it's a good way to think about, how do we navigate a world that's in the new earth frequency, but like physically hasn't presented itself all the way as the new earth, and where the new earth reality physically might not even look like how we drew it up in our minds of like some utopian future and things like that. And to see that, we're all learning what our actual identity is. We get really esoteric here, but you can't spell esoteric without Eric, so here we are. That was lame, I know, but it's like we're finding out deeper who we are. We're finding out more about what is spiritual, what is God. I mean, there's a lot of people that, are joining religion, and a lot of people that are really against spiritual folks right now and saying that we're crazy and we need to shut the fuck up, and trying to censor us and even brainwash us. And it's like, why spend so much time censoring true seekers and spiritual people? And I think the answer is because, the more people that you get that are truly liberated in their creative soul level energies, which I think Venus and Scorpio can help with, as long as it's calibrated to our value systems, you get a bunch of Neos flying around, basically, not to play Superman for others, but more from a source of inspiration to show others, to be that role model, to be like, yeah, like this is how I'm escaping my own, matrix pod. I think this has a lot to do with just the vulnerability of being human and finding the spiritual humbleness and all of it. And I think that's the way. That's the Mandalorian way, is to show up in that authenticity when it comes to, what is the story that is actually valuable to share. I think we're only going to know deep within our roots of what that is. It's going into an emotional area. Venus doesn't like to be in Scorpio, but it is going into the depths of our emotions to find out like what is worth sharing, what is worth communicating. We're a human race of people that can get to the places that we want to go together faster, especially if we're willing to share authentic, honest stories that showcase our values and our challenges and how we feel about our worth and all that, but only if it's honest, only if it comes from a place of, vulnerability, of realness. The Venus in Scorpio is going to demand that. And so, all in all, I think it's an opportunity today to like let the universe, let our guides like show us like a bigger, better story, and to see that we really can, change chapters and kind of go from, maybe a mundane, part of things to more of an excitement of, the mystery of where are things going, right? The unsolved, mystery of what are we as humans, who is God, but then also the thrill of like aligning with a vibration that feels like it's taking us to a deeper sense of who we are. And I think that's the remembrance on a day like today, is ultimately however your day is going, the level of stress, your schedule, all the things, is ultimately a reflection of how you feel about your character and your character development. And it is about a weird self-discovery of who we are, what is the human, what is our identity, and that the approach, the identification of that can look a little weird, and it does require being someone that is listening to the divine of how to serve what's being asked of us, and being humble in that way, and not getting, all Anakin Skywalker, of like, make me a Jedi now and give me all the power. And, Pluto at the end of Capricorn will do that. And then Venus in Scorpio is like, yeah, like, let's find the resources and like, let's do it. And it's like, we got to check ourselves on that psychological level. If we try to go into that space, it's like, we don't want to be hungry ghosts that just want things to happen just for blind ambition, the sake of things happening. And so instead, it's like, let's lead ourselves into fruition by being okay with the mystery. And if negative stuff comes up, so be it. You know what? Like, that Venus in Scorpio came here to do some shadow work. And I think the only way that things become negative is when we stall ourselves out in the honest reflection of the truth in the mirror, and like looking at these things, and that, usually what we judge as negative is just something waiting to be alchemized to turn into more fuel for us to propel ourselves forward into a greater expression of our more authentic reality. And so, every character in the story is finding out who we are, and somehow we're here to grow and support each other. And this brings up relationships, and what's uncovering truths there of who's on your side, who can you trust. It brings up a lot. It brings up a lot of different things to explore. But I think as long as the man or woman that you are in the mirror, and that you're looking back, and you've made a deep commitment to yourself to say, I want to know who you are. I'm intending to love you and value, and to find out who that person is very much deep inside, and to insist upon the patience of whatever it takes to be that person. And to me, that's the hill to die on. I know we're all have challenges, and we still have to show up to those, but I think what makes it worth it, so that we don't get stuck in the loop of wanting or needing change, but maybe not knowing how to assimilate it all together, because it feels like we're thinking about and looking at too many things, is that commitment to, well, no matter what, by the end of this, however this goes, is going to be the way that we discover ourselves on the hero's journey, and that through that self-discovery, yeah, we can handle anything. Yeah, we can get to a place where we can create the most amazing things in our life and take it to a higher level than we've ever seen before. Might take a while, might take decades, but that's the deep level of commitment. That's, I think, the commitment that today's astrology is asking of us, is to see, can we be neutral enough in what's showing up in our intuition too, to even pivot to see, is spirit taking us into a different direction of the story? And is that the story? It brings up a lot of weirdness. That Neptune being stopped, it's kind of hard. We've got to be discerning. We've got to pay attention to making sure that we're not just weaving like the fantasy tale, and then again, it's still connected to the reality, and that it's not a blind spot of escapism, and that any faith or any story that we're having is actually connected to a deeper sense of soul growth and soul spiritual humble development, while still finding a way to let spirit infuse the reality with the essence of being that, and vibrating like at those things. And so all in all, staying positive, letting the honest, joyful things come in. Not a day to burn boats, not a day to, bet it all on black, not a day to, start telling people to fuck off or something. It's more an opportunity to see that life is a mystery, but the soul's unfurling, and who we're becoming as the authentic character is the Holy Grail. It's not the goal or something that we feel desperate to have, or a resource or a relationship or any of that. It's much deeper than that, and I think that's the humble nature. It reminds us of the value of detachment, and to not create stories based that, somehow if we get something in our lives that it's going to make it better, make the story better, or we're going to go create some workbook for our lives to go get the things that we want to have, and somehow the physical reality is going to save things, when it's so far from the opposite. Doesn't mean we discount the physical reality. It just means that we're using it as a vehicle for the ultimate soul growth during this time. And we'll especially, see that at a higher intensity with those eclipses that come in the spring of next year. But, for right now, it's a precursor. It's being reminded we're really great individuals wherever we're at. We're showing up. We're not broken. We just forgot who we are, and there is a way to come back into the alignment with God, with our soul growth, with our relationships, with community, where we can serve and support, one another. But it can't be forced. We've got to be patient. We've got to wait for that new earth over these next few years to show us what it really is, and that the positioning all along was about following things like our Dharma, following our human design, following our intuition, to go on the crazy Alice in Wonderland journey to put us in that frequency. And that it was definitely not about trying to build beaver dams for a reality that's shattering and falling apart because of some ego safety issues where we're feeling afraid, and then we start censoring ourselves because we're afraid of, our own safety and survival. And it's like, let God, let the universe handle that. We're a lot safer than we realize if we just don't tiptoe around the issues of, what's needed for our basic level security, but finding a way to have spiritual integrity and just showing up to all these things. So if you guys want to get your personal private astrology reading as an individual, or, if you're someone who's in a romantic relationship and you are running a business or starting a business, or you've got a big event coming up, do those types of readings as well, you can click on that link in that bio. Love to connect with you in that way. If not, I will see you on tomorrow's horoscope. Peace.